as the hills of West Virginia resound with the sound of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineers. Goes around about the 50 to 10 to 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tavon Austin.
The Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels fear to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth. It's Mountaineer pride.
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
We've no doubt tonight they shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night.
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season. And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue.
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome back into another CRW Game Week stream here, October 24th edition ahead of the WVU and Arizona game. West Virginia gets set to hit the road, try and snap a two-game losing skid on the road, going across a couple of time zones there to take on the Arizona Wildcats. You guys have hopefully heard our thoughts about it, heard our predictions on the podcast episode we released yesterday. Of course, you can find the video version of it here on our YouTube and the audio up on all podcast platforms there, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, you name it. So hopefully you heard our predictions, as always, here in this stream, trying to get your all's predictions. Those of you that are in here live, of course, I always appreciate that and appreciate you guys tuning in and chiming in. But also, if you're watching this after the fact on a playback, go ahead, throw your prediction in the comments. Always appreciate those interactions there as well. But if you are in here live, or even after the fact there, hit the thumbs up button while you're in here. It really helps Tom with that YouTube algorithm. And be sure subscribe here for future Mountaineer football content. We're going to talk a little bit about the game. We're going to get into, of course, the uniform reveal, share that. And I got some other little news and notes. Other than that, you guys kind of guide the conversation here for the most part. So we got a couple people in here already. Timothy Green thinks WVU beats Arizona 24-17. Let's go, Mountaineers. Appreciate that, Timothy Green, loyal channel member here to the CRW, and always so optimistic, and always appreciate the optimism, Tim. And I love it, man. Golden blue glasses on, man. I like it. Chief fan, Arizona 35, West Virginia 14. Appreciate you tuning in and sharing your prediction, Chief fan. And, that's a little bit more, akin to close to what I had in one of my predictions there on the show. Not going to spoil mine necessarily, but pretty close. As Arizona's the better team, and it's a long road trip for West Virginia. Indeed, that's a factor, man. There's some, factors that are going into this game, that are kind of intangible, like that travel, going across multiple time zones. You can try and act like it's not that much different, but it is different for sure. First time you've really done it. And you're also got a banged up football team for West Virginia. I want to talk about that here in just a second. That's what I want to lead this off with, a little bit of an injury update. Listening to Neil Brown Coach's show, and got a little bit of an update on some of the injury situations that we know are ongoing, actually, for both teams, really. Arizona dealing with some injuries as well. Hey, Appalachian Paisano, what's going on, man? Channel member here. Always appreciate you, Appalachian Paisano, hopping in here. Saw you in the grade stream earlier. Always do the weekly stream for channel members where I discuss the player grades, top 5 highest on offense and defense after each game for West Virginia, get into the team grades a little bit, and then we go over the snap counts. And I do a depth chart projection. WVU hasn't released one the past couple of seasons, so I've been trying to track that and release my own projection for each week ahead of the game. My Arizona projection, pretty accurate, really, I think, from what we've learned from the injury updates tonight. So, if that's something you're interested in, you can become a channel member here for as low as $199 and get access to that weekly series. And, of course, additional things like the badges there you see beside the names of Appalachian Paisano and Timothy Green. You get some custom emojis to use in the chat. You get early access to podcast episodes throughout the off season. And then at the top level there, the Almost Heaven level, you get the film reviews, you get the game rewatch commentary. So something else to keep in mind. Appreciate y'all sharing your predictions here, just as Charles Hatcher did. 31-21 West Virginia over Arizona. He's got the Mountaineers with a 10-point win. Got some optimism in the chat tonight early here for these predictions. I see you guys with the gold and blue glasses on. He said he predicts Neil Brown will be fired next week after a tough loss. Another prediction there from Chief Fan. And you know what, Chief Fan? If you're going to make a move in season, that'd probably be when you do it, right? Would be on the bye week. And if you have a bad performance, something you could be in danger of. But personally, I've said it again and I'll reiterate it here. West Virginia just doesn't really fire coaches mid-season. They've never really done that. So if they do, you do definitely know it's like dire straits. I'm not saying it's not impossible to happen, but it's just never happened in our history. So I don't know how likely it is to happen that would occur. But it does feel like that type of atmosphere around the fan base with everything going on and such that that's something that is a possibility, and it almost feels inevitable right now, right? That Neil Brown is coaching his final days at West Virginia. It just depends on how many days that's going to be. Is it going to be the remainder of the season, or at some point are they going to go ahead and cut the cord? I think that it'll probably be at the end of the season personally, but we'll see what happens. You never know what could play out. Appalachian Paisano says we've given up close to 30-plus points in every game. I'm thinking Arizona wins 35-17. Appalachian Paisano, you're seeing things a little bit more closer to the way that I've been seeing them on my preview and prediction for this game when I was looking at the matchups and such. Just because we don't have anyone that's going to stop T-Mac for Arizona. Fafita, I know he's been a mixed bag some this season, but I think he can easily have his get-right game against us. We've seen a lot of people do it. Our secondary is really bad. That's a terrible matchup for us. And then with the injuries we have going into the game, I don't really like West Virginia's chances. Plus what Chief Fan mentioned earlier there, the road trip, everything else, was not going that way. We would see what it played out. I think it'd be more evenly matched. Because I think these teams are kind of evenly matched, but I think there's a lot of things that are going more Arizona's way than West Virginia's here in the lead up to this game. And, of course, you add to that the state of the West Virginia fan base. How bought in are they? How bought in are the players? That's just another intangible factor that goes into this game that I don't think is in West Virginia's corner, unfortunately, as a positive. I think that's something that could affect us negatively, but I appreciate you as always, Appalachian Paisano, man. But that transitions well into something I did want to discuss here at the top, and that's the injury update for West Virginia and for Arizona as well. Arizona is going to be without, linebacker Jacob Manu. Didn't realize he's out for the season now for them. They're also dealing with an injury on the offensive line. They're expected to be, down a man there as well. So that's some injuries that I do know of for Arizona that I'm sure of. As far as West Virginia is concerned, though, because I know that's what's of greater concern here with most of you guys here that are watching this live and after the fact, probably, especially with how things went last week for West Virginia and the injuries they were dealt with there in the second half of that football game, losing, arguably three of your most important players on the whole team, definitely, on the offense with left tackle Wyatt Milam, quarterback Garrett Green, and running back Jaheim White. Looks like for this game, as far as the status of those guys, Jaheim White seems like he's getting pretty close to likely to play. Still, Neil Brown wouldn't say one way or the other on Garrett Green or Wyatt Milam. But as I've stated earlier in the week, and I stated on the members-only stream this morning, personally, I'm predicting to see Nico Marchiol get the start at quarterback and Johnny Williams get the start at left tackle. I don't think we're going to see Wyatt Milam and Garrett Green in this game personally, but it's still up in the air at this point. Neil Brown would not say anything definite yet, but I'm expecting to see Nico personally and probably see Johnny Williams there at left tackle. Then on the defensive side, still going to be without Aubrey Burks, if I could spit that out correctly, there at the spear position for the second straight game. I'm going to see a lot of KK Tarnu there. Then we'll probably see either West Virginia go to a nickel package and bring in, looks like TJ Crandall, much like they had to use Aiden Garnes in a nickel package earlier in the season when Aubrey Burks was dealing with injury. So they only really have the one spear that they're going to play, which is KK Tarnu. Other than that, you'll see the nickel package with probably TJ Crandall. And if not that, sometimes they brought in a third linebacker and Reed Carrico to join Trotter and Lathan. That's what they've done at other times when they've been down at spear this season. But I don't know how much you want to utilize that against a pass-heavy offense or offense that can hurt you more with the passing game in Arizona. I think you'd be more likely to go to kind of the nickel package and bring in an extra corner in TJ Crandall. But we need KK Tarnew to step up at the spear position. And then Aiden Garnes also out for this game at cornerback. Yet again, second straight game for him as well. So you'll probably see Garnett Hollis and Dantes Fagan. You'll see a good bit of Jacoby Spells as well. And like as I mentioned earlier, TJ Crandall will get action. Spells actually graded out pretty highly last week. So, maybe he gets a handful more snaps because of that. We'll see what happens with Fagan and Hollis, but West Virginia will be utilizing those three corners and TJ Crandall in the secondary. But then on the defensive line, positive on the injury side here is TJ Jackson set to go. He's good to play, and Hammond Russell as well. Neil Brown confirmed that. So it seems like you might get Jaheim White, pretty good chance of that on offense. You will get TJ Jackson and Hammond Russell on defense. So that's a good sign for the defense, despite, the problems in the secondary now missing Aubrey Burks and Aiden Garnes. And then on offense, I'm personally just speculating you're going to be missing Garrett Green and Wyatt Milam as well, but that's not 100% confirmed yet either. So did want to provide that injury update here at the top. Other than that, this is an understatement right here, Chief fan. West Virginia doesn't have a good passing defense. No, they have a terrible passing defense. I stated that on our preview and prediction podcast this week. What was the exact grade? 33.9, lowest coverage grade in the Big 12. I believe lowest coverage grade in the country as well, if I'm not mistaken, according to PFF. Everyone else in the Big 12 has at least a coverage grade of 50 or above. West Virginia all the way down at 33.9. Passing coverage has been the big issue for the West Virginia defense this season, and why I'm concerned about this matchup with Arizona. Absolutely. All right, but let's get into it, man. Uniform reveal talk. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and get into that. That's always one of the favorite parts here. So if I can find the video here, and I pulled it up somewhere. Here we are. All right, uni reveal video from the university. Let's check this out. So there we are. I like the uni reveal video. My only, gripe is that we have not played well in the all whites, but, on the more optimistic side of that, this is the first time we've worn the all white uniforms with the new variation there. And I do like our new white pants better with the, gold and blue stripes there. Do get some gold and blue there. We got some gold on the white jerseys finally. We're not just all solid white and blue when we do wear the all white. So I like the look of it better. I will say that, but and, just to go along with that and back that up, of course, we always like to share the post from WVU Uniforms 304 in these streams as well, talking about the record and the uniform and, how much we've worn the combination. And white, white, white is the 8th most worn uniform combination in WVU history, sometimes referred to as the Stormtrooper look. 5th most worn away combo, worn 30 times. But as I said, not the best performances in them. 11-19 is our record. 37% winning percentage. Obviously, it's a road combo. You're not really going to have a lot of winning records on the road, but 11-19 and 37% is pretty bad. Last year in a blowout against Oklahoma on the road. But that is the stats for this one. And you guys know I do like it. Like I said, I like this variation of it better because our new pants with the blue and gold stripes. I was hoping to see white, white, gold. You guys know I love the gold. I want to throw the gold pants in there. Personally, gold, white, gold's one of my favorite uniform combos on the road. But I just had a feeling they'd go white helmets in this one, so I was hoping white, white, gold. But, it doesn't look bad with the all white. Let's share this just to kind of get up close on some of the details because what's really cool about this that I did notice, though, other than, of course, it being the first time we're wearing the all-white variation of the new uniforms, which I do, you get the gold outline on the WV and on the numbers on the jersey, and then you get the gold stripe on the pants with the blue outline. But take a look at the helmets. On the other ones that we've been wearing, when we've been wearing the blue helmets and the gold helmets, we've really had our canary sticker. We've been using that all season. I think this is the first time I've seen the state flag there on the visor tab sticker. As you can see right here, the state flag is pretty sick there on the visor tab. I've liked the canary, but that's a nice touch there. And, you guys know I've raved about it. I love the state outline logo with the flying WV inside. I think we should put that in midfield, especially after seeing it on the baseball field up there in Morgantown. It looks so good. And you get both, so you still get your flying WV, but you get the state outline as well. And then, of course, they got another look at some of the equipment there. But, yeah, I wanted to talk about the uniforms, guys. What do you think, though? What are we thinking in the chat? Thumbs up or thumbs down for the Unicombo this week? Can't complain about the video, Appalachian Paisano says. Hey, I like it. I like it, Appalachian Paisano. The media team, always try and credit them a lot. They do a great job with those, and always try and share their, cinematic recaps after wins that we go with and stuff as well. Love the job the WVU media team does. WVU Earl, channel member here, man. Always appreciate you, WVU Earl. Always loyal to tune in and chime in. He's thinking 31-17 Arizona. So we got a good mix here. It's about 50-50 in the chat. Of course, I'm more close to your prediction, WVU Earl. I'm sure you guys saw in our preview and predictions podcast. I don't want to spoil my exact numbers here, but, it's not far off from what I was thinking as well, WVU Earl. So appreciate that, and we're thinking along the lines there. Hey, Diggs BTW, what's going on, man? Appreciate you tuning in and chiming in as well. So talked a little bit about the injury updates. Talked a little bit about the jerseys. What else do we got here that I wanted to pull up and talk about here? Yeah, let's talk about Cole Taylor a little bit, man. I think he deserves some recognition. I think a lot of us think that we should get the ball to him more, and, maybe we'll continue to do that as the season moves along. But this right here I thought was really good from Keenan Cummings, so I wanted to share this. WVU has 18 missed tackles forced by pass catchers this season, and Cole Taylor has 9 of them. No other player has more than 3. So Cole Taylor doing a good job not only getting open, he's been doing a good job as a blocker this year. Seems like he's improved in that area, but also once he gets the ball in his hands, making things happen. So I think that warrants some more targets. And just to go along with that, I did have to pull this up as well because I have been trying to share this in these streams when we've had a presence on it, and that's the Big 12 Team of the Week from PFF. And we do have a presence on it again this week. Only one, though, as you see, and that is Cole Taylor on the offensive side, of course, coinciding with what we were just talking about there, is West Virginia's lone player on the Week 8 Big 12 Team of the Week. I'm surprised that we had one on there. We graded out super low. I talked about it in the members-only stream this morning. Lowest or next to lowest grade in every single defensive category as a team on this season. So, there's 12 categories total, offense and defense, that they rate your, team on, from, pass offense to run offense to pass defense, pass rush, all the way into the nitty gritty as PFF does. And West Virginia's team grades in the blowout loss to Kansas State were either the lowest in each one of those areas or the next to lowest of the season in each single one of those 12 categories. So that just showed kind of how abysmal in a performance it was and how much West Virginia needs a bounce back performance this week as they get set to take on Arizona, which the only other thing I really wanted to share, guys, was the tail of the tape here from the preview in the matchup here over on WVUsports.com. Obviously, similar records. West Virginia slightly better conference record, but both 3-4 overall coming into the game. On the road, though, for West Virginia at Arizona, they get the home field advantage. But stats-wise for the teams heading into it, Arizona averaging 23 points per game. West Virginia averaging 28.4. Arizona's given up 28 points per game. West Virginia just slightly ahead right there near 29. Rushing yards per game, 136 for Arizona. West Virginia at 202. Passing yards per game, 253 for Arizona, 204 for the Mountaineers. Total yards very close, 389 for Arizona, 406 for WVU. And then giving up similar as well. You see these teams kind of evenly matched on a lot of these numbers. Arizona giving up 362 yards per game. West Virginia giving up 382. Then you get down into fumbles. Arizona has 8 fumbles, 6 interceptions. West Virginia has 10 fumbles, 3 interceptions. So even close on the turnover numbers there for both of these teams. Very similar in time of possession, both right around 31 minutes. So that's why I see in a lot of areas it would be, an even matchup. When we were kind of talking about this, and that's kind of my thoughts over just, overall, 50-foot wide perspective here on the matchup. Like I said, if you want to hear more of my thoughts in depth, just be sure to check out our preview and predictions podcast. If you haven't already, you can watch the video here on YouTube, listen to it on any podcast platform. But for me, just, overall perspective, I think it's an even matchup that, West Virginia would have a better chance in if there weren't some of those, outside factors that I think are going to play an influence, kind of those intangibles, whether it's the travel, whether it's how bought in is the team because of the status of the fan base and the noise going on that's, unignorable for this team right now. They cannot avoid it. Neil Brown could say he stays off social media, but the team doesn't. They know what's going on. How much of a factor does that play? And then, of course, the injuries that we talked about earlier that West Virginia is dealing with, I think are definitely going to play a factor, especially the ones on the defensive side where you're missing 2 guys and what's already been a terrible secondary. And then on offense, if you're playing with your left hand, no pun intended, since Nico is left-handed and he could be playing quarterback, I think. And then Johnny Williams at left tackle as well. So those factors going in, I give a little bit of an advantage to Arizona heading in, just to kind of spoil some of my overall thoughts that you can get more in depth on there in the preview and prediction show. And if you want to hear my prediction and key to victory and all that, be sure check that out if you haven't already. WVU Fan 23 says 34-17 West Virginia over Arizona. I like that one. WVU Fan 23, you got a lot of optimism with that one. WVU with the big win there by WVU Fan 23. Always appreciate you, man, tuning in and chiming in. I hadn't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you back in here again. Sal says, let's go Mountaineers. Beat the Wildcats. Back-to-back weeks playing Wildcats. West Virginia got, taken out to the woodshed by the Wildcats last week. They clawed our Mountaineer, man. Hopefully this week we can bounce back and have a better performance against these Wildcats, at least have a closer game. That's what I'm hoping to see. And as far as, watching that game, I do want to remind you guys, I know a lot of you guys have been tuning into them. They've been going over well, and I've been having a lot of fun doing them on the channel, as have the other guys. We've had Steven in at times. Brad did one on his own, but the watch party streams, the watch-alongs, the game watch-alongs we've been doing, turn the game on your TV. We'll have it on our TV, or if you're not able to watch the game, I provide, a little play-by-play for people that aren't able to watch the game. And so, Saturday at 7, come back here again to the YouTube channel for that live stream where we'll be doing the game watch-along here for the game against Arizona. If you guys haven't came in to one of those, they're a lot of fun. Get to do a little commentary live, kind of hear my thoughts as the game progresses. You guys get to share yours in the chat, talk up with you guys during commercial breaks and stuff like that. So they're a lot of fun, man. You get to see me react to the games. I usually can't really sit down. I got to get up on my feet during the games usually. My nerves run too crazy, but they're a lot of fun, man. We've really enjoyed those watch party streams. If you haven't got into one, definitely come on in. Hey, Appalachian Paisano, right on cue. Yeah, watch along this weekend. Yeah, I'll be doing another one too. But hey, man, if you miss it, man, tune in when you can. Maybe you can tune in spots, or of course it'll be up for a playback after the fact. Silas says, give him the win. Nico with a good performance, 24-21. And that's, of course, something fun to watch with this game, which, like I said, I am expecting Nico to get the start. And how fitting, his first start of this year, not his first start overall, but this would be his first start on the road, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And that would come, in the state that he played high school ball in. I know he's originally from Colorado, but then went to Arizona, played high school ball. And of course, if Garrett Green doesn't play, then that means the backup quarterback, and then the other quarterback we would maybe see would be Ryder Burton if anything was to happen. And he's also a West Coast guy, Colorado and Utah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, for him. So interesting that both QBs West Virginia could be having, dressed for this game and available would both be West Coast guys as West Virginia heads out to the West to play Arizona in this matchup. WV Fan 23 with a great point. We talked a little bit about Neil Brown's radio show earlier and some of the injury updates, but WV Fan 23 also adding that Neil Brown said the team was ready to play again on Sunday. Has been thinking they would play like they did against Oklahoma State. Yeah, I'm hoping that that's true, man. I mean, he did say some positive things about their preparation and how they quickly, dropped my phone there, how quickly they turned around after that game and how they wanted to get back out there and kind of wash the taste of it out of their mouths. So, hopefully that's true. But I've also heard him say a couple times this season that he thought that the team prepared really well. And then we came out on Saturday and laid a dud. So hopefully he's more accurate this time with his prediction. I do think that West Virginia has a chance in this game, despite the fact of me thinking Arizona has a little bit of advantage and a little bit of edge. And I'm not, exactly expecting great things. I'm kind of at this stage in the season with where things at that I'm kind of expecting the worst, hoping for the best, hoping to be wrong about it. That's unfortunately just kind of the way things are right now, but I would love to be proved wrong and then come out and put out a really good performance, man, for sure. South says, hope they're ready to play on Saturday. Yeah, but Neil Brown was referencing like after the loss, they were ready to get back out there like the next day on Sunday and get out there and play. But yeah, I get where you're coming from there. But that's pretty much all I had here, guys. If you guys got any other predictions, throw them in the chat there. Oh, real quick, yeah, let me pull this up because I thought this was interesting. It's a good slate of college football on Saturday. which is one of those days that I'm glad West Virginia plays, what's a late kick on the eastern side. It's a 7 o'clock kick for us here on the east. I know for Arizona it's 4 o'clock, but for us it'll be at 7. So get to watch a lot of this slate, and I just want to pull these up and just to talk a little bit about some of the slate on Saturday. We don't do that a lot, but I kind of want to start throwing that in here. We do the Big 12 recaps and previews on the podcast, but we don't talk a lot about the national goings on. But, sometimes on the live stream, that's fun to do. And we got a lot of ranked matchups and big matchups, important matchups this week with playoff implications, all the way through from noon all the way down. And a lot of these, start prior to our game. Some of them, of course, start at the same time. I think these times listed are Central, so I'll adjust for Eastern. But Notre Dame at Navy, noon there on ESPN Plus and ABC. That's an interesting matchup. Navy, is a potential playoff team right now. 6-0. If they could pull off this win, that would be, a big one for them. Notre Dame, got to tip their cap. They've recovered since Northern Illinois. But, hey, I'm pulling for Navy. I'm pulling for Navy to get this win over Notre Dame. Missouri and Alabama, another interesting matchup at 3:30, ABC and ESPN Plus. So it'll follow the Navy Notre Dame game. Alabama's defense a little suspect this season, but they are, playing at home, I believe. So Missouri going in there. We'll see what happens with that matchup. Missouri was a, previously highly ranked team. They've kind of fallen off a little bit, but I think that'll be a close game there as well. I think Alabama will pull that one out. Texas and Vandy. I've got my eyes on this one for multiple reasons. Obviously, Quinn Ewers out for the rest of the season. We're watching Arch Manning take over at Texas, who, of course, has playoff hopes. Still at 6-1. They're only lost to Georgia now. That's going to be at 4:15 on the SEC network. Vanderbilt, though, what a team Vanderbilt is this season. Diego Pavia, they're really doing some fun things. And, how about Vanderbilt being ranked, leaving West Virginia as one of only 3 teams that now that haven't been ranked since 2019. But you know what? Give me Vandy. Give me Vandy. I'm rooting for the upsets in this one. I'd love to see Vandy, get a big SEC win and go to 6-2 on the season and have the same record as Texas. That'd be wild. No one had that on their bingo card. Or this even being a ranked game. No one had Texas Vandy as a ranked game on their bingo card, as a matter of fact. Penn State and Wisconsin. Interesting test here for the Nittany Lions, who have looked great this year, up to number 3 in the country now, 6-0. I think they'll win it, but it could be a close game. 7:30 Eastern kick on Peacock and on NBC. LSU and Texas A&M, ABC, ESPN Plus at 7:30. I think I'm going to take Texas A&M to pull this one off. Tough home field advantage for Texas A&M. I'm going to go with them. SMU and Duke, 6-1 teams meeting up in an 8 o'clock kick on the ACC network. Give me SMU. They've looked great since they found their quarterback. Surprisingly, Stone looked great last year, but since they switched to Jennings, they've looked a lot better. I think SMU pulls it off. Boise State and UNLV. This one will be interesting. Boise State, if they can continue to win, could be a playoff team with a potential Heisman winner. And I'm going to have to ride with Ashton Jeanty. I know UNLV has recovered from losing that quarterback earlier in that NIL situation, the transfer they had from Holy Cross. What was the name? Sleuthman? I can't remember what his name was. Matt Sleuthman, something like that. But yeah, transfer from Holy Cross, but then they've played just as good without him. Going to be interesting, 10:30, late kick on CBS Sports Network. But give me Ashton Jeanty. That guy looks like he can't be stopped. He may break records this year, and I think he's got a great chance to be the Heisman winner, and he's my Heisman favorite. So I'm going to ride with Boise State. And then Utah State and Wyoming. I'm not too sure why this one's on this. I figured talked about with the great slate, but hey, give me Wyoming playing at home. I think that one just snuck into the photo they tried to crop there to put some of the matchups on here. But hey, we'll throw out a pick for it. Why not? But that's all I had, guys. Uniform talk, of course. Sharing the injury update was the main topics I wanted to get into here as far as game week updates. And then always, of course, get your all's predictions as always in here. And just remind you guys of the watch along stream we'll be doing Saturday night for the game yet again. So come back and chat with me again. I've enjoyed talking with you guys, getting your all's predictions and such in the game, man. I really have. Appalachian Paisano, appreciate you. Channel member here chiming in yet again, says he's looking forward to that Navy game. The Pitt game tonight, not so much. Yeah, I know. I've got it on in the background here. I've been peeking up at the screen, seeing if Syracuse was going to make a run at it, but nah, man. Pitt's showed up in this one, man, and their defense, hey, hell of a game, hell of a start to the game for their defense, and it's hard to lose when you get off to such a good start like that, for sure. Not a fan of watching that one, obviously, for the rivalry implications, but Pitt's getting it done right now. Got to tip their cap to them for that. Looks like another blowout victory for them as they continue to climb up the polls and remain unbeaten, and we'll see what they do in the ACC, though, here as we get into the back half of the season. And hopefully the Mountaineers can find some wins in the back half of the season as well. More importantly, and see what happens on Saturday in Tucson as they take on the Arizona Wildcats in a Big 12 road game. West Virginia in desperate need of a win to snap the 2-game losing skid they're currently on. Like I said, you can hear my thoughts throughout the game and the game watch-along stream. Come along to catch that. Subscribe here so you can get a notification by clicking that notification bell for when I do go live for the watch-along streams for these type of streams and everything, and do a ton of Mountaineer football coverage here on the channel, recruiting, transfer portal, and, of course, in-season, ton of stuff, multiple podcast episodes a week, multiple live streams. So be sure to subscribe here if you haven't. Hit the like button before you head out, whether you watch this live or on a playback. If you didn't get a chance to throw your prediction in here live, throw it in the comments there. I always appreciate those interactions, and I'll try and respond in text form there as well. And then, of course, we'll be back to talk about the game more in depth after in our review and reaction podcast we'll be releasing on Monday following the game. So look out for that as well, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning into this one, chiming in and sharing your predictions. Looking forward to some Mountaineer football on Saturday. Only a few more opportunities left to watch the Mountaineers play this season, so going to enjoy it, take it in, and cheer the team on while we can and try and rally behind them and hope for the best. But looking forward to taking it in with you guys that come back for the watch-along stream on Saturday, and looking forward to recapping the game after that on the review and reaction podcast when me, Stephen, and Brad, they all try and get together to release that. But appreciate you guys. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.